Welcome back to Tracy's Dog Podcast. I am so excited to be here with you today to talk to you about how you can build your confidence and become a better partner. My name's Adrienne. I'm your sex positive bestie, here to share with you sex positive topics leading to hopefully fulfilling you and leading you to better sex. Okay, that is the ultimate goal here with you and your partner. And today, building confidence really within yourself is what will help you become such a better partner and happier overall in life, if you ask me. It's funny because I've actually been kind of going on my own little journey with this as well. I've been learning that, you can't fully love someone if you don't love yourself entirely first. And also, I like to remind people and myself that the most important relationship that you will ever have is the one with yourself. I'll talk to you a little bit and be vulnerable here. So I've been single for the last almost 4 years. And I kind of was like thriving in that world, right? I didn't have to have any feelings for anyone, and I didn't have to think about anything. I didn't need to be vulnerable because God, that's so scary. And I met someone, right? And wasn't planning on meeting him. I wasn't expecting it whatsoever. And shit, I caught feels, right? And so now, months later, I'm in a relationship and I'm learning about myself that, it's tough. And I have a problem with being vulnerable. I have an issue with vulnerability. And I find myself sometimes being like, is this too much? Is this not enough? When at the end of the day, I am a confident and secure person. And that is what my partner was attracted to in the first place. So if I'm feeling some sort of way or my mind is running with something, and we'll talk about that in a minute, I know to quickly shut that down because it's okay to be vulnerable. And truly, there is no reward without risk. And putting your heart and yourself out there is a really scary thing to do. I think especially later in life, when you're younger and you are in your 20s and it's like, look, find a partner, get married, have babies, live happily ever after. And Disney lies, okay? Like those are lies. That's not, majority of the time, that is not how that ends up. And you start to have, some damage from previous relationships. And then you all of a sudden are carrying some bags and have this baggage that sometimes if you don't heal or overcome them, you carry them into your next relationship. And I'm learning even about myself, it's just nothing, you can't ever guarantee what the next situation is going to be in your life or what you're going to face or what you're going to go through or when you're going to meet somebody or the timing of things. And I think what's key is that I'm always listening, always learning, evolving as a person and continually working on the confidence within myself because it's rough out here and, I'm putting myself back out there again and, falling for this person and it's scary as shit. But at the end of the day, this is what I want. And, I'm willing to risk it for the biscuit. Right. And even though I'm scared and I feel, nervous being so vulnerable, it's worth it because that's what builds that connection with your partner. So, and it all stems from having that self-confidence. So when you're confident, you're going to be a better partner. You're going to have better relationships. So let's talk about that today. And like I said, I'm looking in the mirror when I'm learning and I'm still growing. I am far from perfect when it comes to this, but it's important to talk about. I actually told one of my friends last night, I was like, you know what? I never realized how important all this stuff is. I never knew what an attachment style was. What in the world? So let's talk about all of that today. And I think when you're in a relationship with someone, it's very easy, especially in the beginning, to kind of get lost in them, right? All of a sudden, you're just so excited. You just want to be around them all the time. And then you haven't seen your friends in a while and you haven't done your hobbies or, you haven't gotten down to the studio and podcasted in a while because you've just been, living in that, amazing honeymoon la la land, which is great. However, it's important to remember that you and your person and the love you have with yourself is more important than anything else. You don't want to lose that. So I want to say it's vital that you get to know yourself. Who are you? What do you love? What excites you solely as a person? And I think when you're in these relationships where you start to feel consumed or, if you're trying to fix a relationship or something, you want to try to reroute your attention back to yourself. Okay. Pick a new hobby. Try something new. Build the confidence within yourself, and then you can be just healthier for everybody in your life. So I think rerouting your attention from the relationship, which sounds, counterproductive, it's really not. Like when you're focusing on yourself and you're being your best version of yourself, your partner's going to be more attracted to you. They're going to feel more safe and sound and secure with you and confident in you because you're so confident in yourself. And so rerouting your attention, like get busy, try something new. Make sure you always have your own life, okay? Outside of your relationship. And that will ultimately, it just does nothing but build your confidence. Okay, another thing is to make sure that you practice self-care. All right, so go to the gym. Make sure you have downtime for yourself. For me, I'm a big fan of just having like some serious relaxation time. And one of the ways that I do that is I love going to the nail salon. It is a time when I can't hold my phone. I completely check out from the world and I spend my time, getting my nails done, getting a pedicure, relaxing, taking the time out. Make sure you're getting good sleep, you're eating right, all the above. And also another big thing for me when it comes to self-love is solo play. Masturbation is a really great way for me to enjoy and love myself, make myself feel good. And so that is another huge way to make sure that you are practicing self-care and being good to yourself first, because I just really can't say that enough, especially like being a mom, right? So like if you talk about priorities in my life, number 1 is me. Number 2 is my daughter. And then number 3 is my partner. And some people might say, well, shouldn't your partner be first, or shouldn't your daughter be first? No, I'm first, because if I'm not filling my cup up, how can I give to other people? You know what I'm saying? So if you're finding yourself, really think to yourself, like, is my cup full? Is my cup runneth over? Most of the time, no. So you got to make sure you're giving yourself that self-love, whatever it means for you, just do it, because it is vital, right? Another thing that's huge when you're in a relationship, in a way that you can instill confidence in yourself, is to make sure that you have boundaries. This goes for interpersonal relationships, your partner or your spouse. Like, I really think that speaking about and setting boundaries with people is vital. Set expectations. Hey, I like to go get my nails done and I'm not going to be on my phone, or I'm not a huge fan of texting all day long, and that's just who I am. Learn to say no as well. You don't have to do, you don't have to go, you don't have to accomplish and, choose and say yes to everything. You just don't. No is a complete sentence. So that's part of practicing self-care too. So, creating those boundaries with your partner, with other people in your life, and that builds your confidence because you're making time for yourself, you're standing up for yourself, and people will respect you for that, truly. Another way that you can build and increase confidence in yourself is to encourage positive thinking. I cannot tell you, like, if I looked at my brain, and I would beat my brain up for the way that it talks about me, right? The way it runs off into the wild with like scenarios or crazy circumstances that will never happen, like worst case scenarios. And, I know that your mind is there to protect you, right? And to make sure that you stay in that homeostasis? I forget the name of it, but that's its job. But also your brain and your mind will tell you things that are just absolutely ridiculous. And it can be very overwhelming at times, right? Like, I get that. I will say that people who lack self-confidence, like, they're always focusing on negative things. So let's change that. Let's have positive thinking, right? Like, challenge that negative talk. So for instance, I haven't heard from my partner all day. Something's wrong. He's cheating on me. He's out and about. He doesn't care about me. He doesn't love me anymore. Whatever. So not the truth. And I'm thinking of like conversations I have with my friends and like things people tell me. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not what's happening. Oh, he's late from work. And then he ends up bringing you home flowers, right? Because he was out getting, whatever. But your mind's saying, nope, he doesn't like me anymore, or whatever. Or saying to yourself, I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not as hot as that girl at the bar down there. He could have her. Why does he want me? I'm not good enough. Like, let's completely stop that. I think that that's a really big thing. You're who you are, and that's beautiful. Like, what you are and who you are and what you bring and give to the world and to your partner and to any of the relationships you're in. That's your magic. No one else on this earth is like you. And so think about that, encourage that positive thinking, because what you are, what you think is what you are, and what you believe is who you become, right? So we want to be really careful with that. And I'm looking at myself when I talk about this because like I can get into that negative talk. I can say, oh my gosh, I'm not the hottest girl in the room, or I'm not the skinniest, I'm not the prettiest, I'm not the youngest. And who the fuck cares? I am me. I'm confident with who I am. I know my value. I know my worth. I know what I deserve. And I'm telling you, like that attracts people. So let's switch the narrative here, especially if you have any negative self-talk about yourself, okay? And you can stop it right in its tracks. One of my friends and I were talking about how you can actually envision like a stop sign in your head and say, stop the negative talk. We're not going to do that because we're building our confidence, okay? All right. Let's talk about attachment styles. I want to discuss this because I really honestly never even knew what an attachment style was, which I was like, Adrian, 43 years on this earth, how do you not know about attachment styles? And as I learned about them, I realized quickly that I was anxious attachment, which is not great. And so doing the work and doing the research and learning about being a secure attachment style is where you want to be. And it just simply recognizing it is half the battle. Okay, so let's talk about the different attachment styles. So there's anxious, avoidant, secure, and disorganized. So secure is when people, I'll read these to you. So people with a secure attachment style are comfortable with intimacy. They can trust others and have a healthy balance of independence and connection. So again, we're going to be rerouting our attention back to ourself. We are going to be, pouring into ourself, self-love, self-care, creating boundaries with people so that we have that secure attachment with our partners. And this, by the way, goes into other relationships in your life too. So that's the goal. You want to be secure. You want to be confident in your relationships. Anxious, which is a place that I've been for sure. So people with an anxious attachment style may be insecure about the relationships. They fear abandonment and seek validation. They crave emotional intimacy and require more validation from their partner. I definitely needed a lot of validation. Like, hey, you're not going to hurt me, right? Like, you're not going to break my heart. I'm not here alone. Like, you're matching my energy, right? Like, we're on the same page. Like, I constantly needed that like reassurance. And at the end of the day, no matter what kind of thoughts you have in your brain or what kind of things you want to say to your partner, it's not going to change who they are. And it's not going to change the outcome of whatever your relationship may be, whether you run off into the sunset together or you crash and burn, right? So all of that anxiety and buildup is for nothing. And further, when you are an anxious attachment style and you say things to your partner like, why haven't you texted me? I feel like we're not close. What's wrong? It's going to push them away. So although you're trying to be closer and get more and be more secure in your relationship, you're actually doing the complete opposite. So anxious is not a place that I ever want to be. Avoidant attachment style is people with this style may have a need to feel loved, but they are emotionally unavailable in relationships. They struggle with their independence and autonomy and struggle with emotional intimacy. I know a lot of people like this. I actually met a girl this past weekend and I made out with her. She's one of the hottest girls I've ever made out with. And she was like, I hate men. I hate all men. I want nothing to do with men. And I don't want a relationship because she was like, I had a really bad divorce. And I was just like, oh boy, like you are such an avoidant, which is fine, right? Like no judging, whatever. But the issue is that if you start to get into a relationship and you haven't resolved that and you're still feeling that way, you're doing a disservice and everyone's going to end up heartbroken. You gotta be willing to heal, be vulnerable, open yourself up, get back out there in the game. The rear view mirror, the windshield is so much bigger than the rear view mirror. Like we're not looking at the rear view because we're not going that way. So facing forward, healing from our past, dealing with whatever intimacy issues you may have. And really, if you're not emotionally available for someone, tell them that and don't hurt them and move on, right? Like we're not in the business of breaking hearts and hurting people. We're frankly too old for that shit. So if you find yourself with an avoidant, speak up about it. And I will tell you this, anxious attachment styles love to attract avoidant attachment styles. And they're constantly trying to fix. They're codependent upon them. And I'm telling you right now, you're wasting your time. Stand up for yourself. Be more secure. be confident and say, no, this isn't working for me, because you're going to save yourself a whole lot of time. And maybe that avoidant will be like, hey, wait a minute, I don't want to lose you. Let's see what I have to do and what it takes to make this work, right? So just knowing these attachment styles are so huge for you. Okay, then there's the disorganized. So people with the disorganized attachment style may have mixed feelings of approach and avoidance towards their partner. This can lead to feelings of confusion, fear, and anxiety in relationships. I don't really know to people that are like disorganized. I will say most people are anxious, avoidant, or hopefully secure. I think most of us are always working towards the secure attachment style. Like that's what you want to be. But just knowing these is half the battle. And it gives you the confidence to like want to be secure in yourself and in your relationships. Because truly, like I said, at the end of the day, if you're constantly seeking validation, if you're putting all this pressure on one person to make you happy in this world, it's never going to work. And at the end of the day, I really want you to remember, only you can make yourself happy, and only you can make decisions that work for you and the happiness and healthiness and, confidence within yourself. So I just want to say, we've talked about a lot here today. You can't love yourself. I mean, you can't love someone else if you don't love yourself. Like that's huge. And remember, when you love yourself, the rest will fall into place. I have told my partner before, my current partner, I'm like, what's meant for me will not leave me. What's truly meant for me in my life will not pass me by. I am confident and secure in saying that. I had some tough talks with him at the beginning of our relationship where I was like, hey, I don't know if you're ready for this. I know what I want. I know what I need. I'm ready for something real. I know what I deserve. I know what I can bring into someone's life. And, we had conversations about it. And he was like, Adrian, like, I want to see what happens. Like, let's see what we can do. Like, let's work towards that together. And, it's been history since, but, we had to have that conversation because I was like, hey, this is what I want. This is what I need. And that's the confidence in me. Even somebody who's like an anxious attachment girly, and was for a really long time. And I still dabble back and forth with that. However, when push comes to shove, I'm making the decisions that are what is the confident and the security coming out of me, because like I know that I'm always going to put myself first. So just remember that, like, in the most important relationship that you can have on this earth is the one with yourself. So treasure that. Take care of yourself. All right. I hope you learned something here today. I really do feel like for so long in so many relationships in my life, I never knew about these things. So get out there and think about ways that you can give yourself some self-love, challenge that negative self-talk, and build your confidence, which will ultimately allow you to be a better partner, okay, in every relationship in your life. All right, I will see you guys next week.